Peace and blessings, everyone, and welcome back to the STEM Files, where we serve as your voice of STEM talent and Black culture. I know you're looking at the date and the time and trying to figure out why are we on your screen on a Sunday night. Well, your brother was down and out. I felt like I was hit by a train the last couple of days, so I had to kind of recoup and bounce back. But we are here as promised. We came back with the STEM Files on a special Sunday night, and we're going to be talking with Rich Gilliam, aka Richnovated, and we're going to be interviewing him about his company, Richnovated. He's the founder of STEM Plug, which is a podcasting program that he has that's very, very similar to the STEM Files. We're also going to be talking about his career as a robotics automation engineer and so much more. So, family, stay tuned for more after this.
You believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teach men, we teach them heavy.
All right, family, and as our opening theme always states, we teach men, we teach women, and we teach our children heavy science. On this platform, this is the STEM Files, where we serve as the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. My name is Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. I'm a biomedical research scientist with a concentration on the background in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and blood vessels. I'm typically joined by my right hand, and it's fabulous to see him because our brother has been going through an amazing moments in his life these last couple of months, and he is now back with us on screen. Jabril, welcome back to the STEM File.
Yes, sir. Peace, love, and blessings. What it do, what it is. Jabril Muhammad, aka Jabrilian Engineer. I am a civilian mechanical engineer with a focus on naval ship fluid systems and a background in material science and engineering, the study of the various material classes and how things can be made lighter, faster, stronger, more effective, more efficient, depending on how you use those materials for different applications. I'm excited to tap in with a fellow engineer. I'm excited to get into this conversation, excited to give true power to the people. Let's get into it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. True power to the people. I was just watching a Muammar Gaddafi documentary, right? And a lot of the things that he did for his people was providing, free healthcare, free fuel, free electric, the whole nine, right? He provided a lot of the industries that we have over here in America, but he provided these things for his people for free. And I wanted to start off the show by opening up the dialogue of why knowing these types of sciences, especially robotics and engineering, why is this so crucial for our people to have in their hands as knowledge and as application to help build sustainable societies. Just want to start it off there, and then we're going to get into the first. Well, tell us who you are first, and then we'll get into that question.
Nah, for sure, bro. Man, so nah, I appreciate it. It's an honor again to be on your platform, the STEM Files, man. I definitely tap into a lot of y'all content. I definitely see that we all like mine, so I appreciate the opportunity. So yeah, again, man, my name is Rich Gilliam, aka Richnovated. So Richnovated is more so, my brand name. I am the founder of STEM Plug. So within STEM Plug, there are a lot of umbrellas. We have the STEM Plug podcast, like you said, but I'm also a public speaker. I'm also, I do consulting and coaching as well. So STEM Plug is a whole brand of just, really diving into STEM and plugging into STEM, right? So I'm located in North Carolina currently, Raleigh, North Carolina, originally from Philly, North Philly to be exact. And
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. I said he got it's there. It's there.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
yeah.
Oh, we going yes, sir.
Nah, for sure, bro. Yeah, so originally from North Philly, and I'd say everything where I'm at today, right, as that Richnovated, the founder of STEM Plug and also a robotic engineer. But I had a 1.8 GPA when I graduated high school. I went to Samuel
Whoa.
Fells High School in Philly, and yeah, man, went to school in Philly, and came to college in North Carolina and really changed my life, man. Just really, experiencing another environment, another culture really had such a positive impact on my life. So the story of me with even going into robotics and the importance of robotics is such a such an amazing story for me, how I even got into robotics, right? So I actually studied biology in undergrad. I didn't study engineering. I studied biology in undergrad, and was a
Oh man, hold up, man, hold up. Man, you switched over on us like that, man.
yeah.
Damn. Look at
Yeah.
it, bro.
Yeah, nah, for sure, man. So yeah, I studied biology, right? And so after I graduated, I was actually doing science research for my first 2 years out of school. I was doing science research for the government, neuroscience to be exact. So it was cool work, right? Cool work. Did that for about 2 years, and then sometimes one door closes, or even better one opens. So my PI that was supporting the research that I was doing, she lost funding. So when she lost funding, I was kind of out of a job. But that was actually a blessing in disguise for me, because that actually introduced me to automation and robotics, right? So I
Mm,
left there and I went to another company, and I was actually still a scientist, working, but a scientist actually running experiments on robotics and automation. So I did that for about 2 years, right? This was from about 2016 to about 2018. And one day I was working overnight too. One day I just kind of had a moment to myself where I was just like, man, like this is cool, but this stuff is starting to become too repetitive to me. Like, why don't I try to learn this like automation and robotics, like the engineering part of it? So now I can kind of get more deeper diving into this. Like I can only imagine where this will be in the next 5 years. So I really just took the initiative, when the vendor would kind of come in and kind of, do the different preservative maintenance on our equipment and support it. I was like, hey, can I shadow you? Can I kind of learn some of this stuff? So I became that, that go-to guy, right? When he kind of came in and out. And then, I really just started to really, I would say, finesse my resume up with my skills. And
right.
I got a full-blown opportunity into automation and robotics in 2019. And that was an amazing opportunity. And kind of to go back to your question, I know that might have been kind of long-winded, but I had to kind of give you that background. But the
No,
importance of
it wasn't
yeah.
long winded at all, bro. That's what we
Yeah,
wanted.
the importance of robotics and automation, right? When you look at, especially me in North Carolina, right? You look at all of the pharmaceutical companies that are out here. All different companies are looking to scale what they're doing, right, and also
Right.
be more efficient. So when you're working with robotics, it's really an opportunity to not only scale, but now this increases traceability as well, right? So, for example, you might have had a scientist that was doing a manual process in the lab, right? They might have been doing a manual process, and then they might have messed something up, right? But now they got to remember what step in the process they might have messed something up. Now, compared to if you run this on a robot, right, and there's a mistake, you can go back on the log file and look, oh, this is where this happened, right? So seeing the traceability that you can do with robotics, it's so much stuff, bro. And even how I just explained it, I look at automation and robotics. It's almost been like a trade for me, because, like I said, I didn't go to school. I kind of just got that hands-on knowledge. I was a scientist, and I seen how I can kind of transfer those skills into something deeper that I wanted to do.
Got you.
Yeah,
Jay, you want to start it off?
Yeah, I just wanted to say first off, thank you again for opening up with that. It's crazy.
yeah,
I feel like I always have an inkling when somebody want to say they from Philly. It's just like there's a swag, there's a cadence, and you are the
yeah,
second guy we had on the show that I didn't know was from Philly initially, but the way you were talking when you said it, I wasn't surprised. So that's dope.
yeah,
But when you were talking about robotics and automation and its place, if you will, in society, juxtaposed to how an employee or how the worker gets stuff done. I think that there's a such thing as, or there's a fine line between too much and too little. So I think at its best, robotics and automation helps us do those mundane tasks that are not so much our job and really should allow us to do what our job actually is. So, okay, I got to put all these names or organize all this into an Excel spreadsheet. I can get that automated so I can have FaceTime with the customer, or really do real-time team building and mentorship with my team, or really talk about or create, or like, give the presentation, let my personality go out, as opposed to, okay, I'm going to get rid of the actual person and have the robot do the presentation. That's not what we're talking about. So I think that finding that balance is key, and truly being able to see where you can increase efficiency without getting rid of the organic aspect of the job or of the actual project is going to be so key. So, definitely thank you so much for sharing that. I wanted to segue
Sure, bro.
really quickly into the title for tonight, and then we'll go into some other things. So it says branding yourself around innovation. I look at that as connecting oneself to a particular thing. When you read that, and when you looked at that topic for tonight, what came to your mind? What are some things you thought about, and what do you hope people get from watching tonight as you get into explaining that, and as we kind of build?
Yeah, man.
That's a good question, because like if you look at all three of us, right? Jabrian Engineer, Tariq Cardiac, Richnovated, these are all monograms. Well, if I'm saying that right, monograms of us connecting ourselves to, what we do in our particular areas of STEM, right? So when I saw you say, when you text me, it was like, can you put Richnovated instead of your full name? I was like, hell yeah, because that was what, that's what we're all about. We're all about being able to take what we do in our respective STEM disciplines and matching it up with who we are and creating something incredible. So that's an excellent question. We would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, nah, for sure, bro. So yeah, branding yourself around innovation, right, man? I'm all about branding, man. It's cool to say that I'm a scientist, I'm an engineer, but anybody, like, I'm not gonna say anybody can say that, but like, what, that's not really making that real impact that I wanted to make on the world, right? So when I would look at myself as Rich Novated, right? Rich Novated is really me taking myself as the person I am, Rich, as well as that word innovation, right? And just taking my mindset of really being a forward thinker, right? Because when I think of my brand STEM Plug, when I think of myself Rich Novated, I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do the next 2 months. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do 10 years from now, right? So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, that's going into making sure that I'm protecting all of my intellectual property of trademarks within my brand. I filed about 4 trademarks for STEM Plug this year, just making sure that I protect my brand. Of, even though I've only had STEM Plug for a year, I'm thinking about where I'm going to be 10 years from now. So
Right.
really thinking of that forward thinking mindset, and really helping others to really think in that way as well, right? So even when we're
Right.
thinking of robotics, right, and robotics and automation, where the robotics and automation, everything that I'm doing, in the lab that I'm working in, we're thinking about how we're going to scale for the next. We're thinking about how we're going to scale in 2030, right? not
Mm-hmm.
not not 2 years from now. So we're working on projects in the lab and stuff like that, and developing sequences and an infrastructure for how we're going to be able to scale into that year. So really, it all starting with that mindset and really putting that brand around it, and really wanting to kind of continue to share my story with the world. I'm not even going to say just the North Carolina or the country. I'm going to say the world. So
Come on. Well,
yeah,
we ain't about all that set tripping. Like everybody's gonna get,
yeah,
what you have to offer for sure.
for
But
sure.
and you said something very key. You talked about intellectual property, right? When you look
Mhm.
at the STEM files, and our parent company is Original Man Scientific, which has now been able to well, we'll talk about that a little later. But Original Man Scientific is our parent company, and the whole point of Original Man Scientific is to help facilitate one's intellectual property so that they don't fall victim to traps that are out there, or uh, fall victim to not protecting it when you had the chance, right? So when you come up with these ideas, and you come up with all these different types of creative, processes, services, or what have you, these inventions, these innovations, how important is it to immediately make sure that it doesn't end up in the wrong hands, and that you have full, complete control of what you produce?
Yeah, man, bro, it's so important, right? That's why I said it's really important of thinking in that forward thinking mindset, right? Because you can have something that you got right, and you can like, okay, nobody's in my same niche or anything. Nobody's going to take this online. But you got to remember, once you put something online, anybody in the world can see it. It could be John Doe in Australia. I'm just naming some random places: Australia, Japan, anywhere. Try to take your stuff, right? So it's like really just making sure that you protect your brand, and putting trademarks cost. You got to pay the investment, but it's way more worth it to really protect yourself in that in that manner. And really, man, I go to a lot of different conferences. I'm always looking to dive in and obtain knowledge, right? And for me, it kind of all started. I went to so I was a vendor at InvestFest this year, but last year I went to InvestFest and I just attended. Me and my fiance, and really, it was life changing for me, right? Steve Harvey was there, I remember, and he gave an amazing speech. But one of the biggest things that kind of stuck with me, I'm someone that kind of really learns from someone that can share their mistakes or their failures in life, right? Be vulnerable, right? Because I'm always gonna do that myself as well. But Steve Harvey shared that he owned like America's Got Talent before it was America's Got Talent. Well, sorry, he didn't own it. He had America's Got Talent before it was America's Got Talent, basically. But he didn't own the intellectual property, basically. So once they started the show, like he was done for. He didn't have it.
Wow.
Even the Steve Harvey show, he talked about the Steve Harvey show as well. He was like certain parts of that he didn't really own, so he didn't like really make money from it. So it's like but you see all this stuff, you like, wow, he like made bank from this, but like he didn't even own it. So it's like really making sure I protect stuff at the early on, right? So
I want to talk a little bit more about mindset as we get past the first 15 minutes of the show. You talked about graduating from high school, 1.8 GPA, right? I mean, a lot of us across the world, right? Black, brown communities or whatever, you hear a lot of these stories where people say, well, I started from here, now I'm here. What was it, whether it was a community, something internally driving you, someone you met, mentorship, what was it that kept you going, letting you know, hey, I can do this. This isn't my peak. I can continue to move forward and really attain not only some level of influence, but really do well in the technical field to be able to create a legacy for myself, my family, my community.
yeah, nah, for sure, bro. That's
Talk about that generational wealth. Yes, sir.
yeah, that's a great question, bro. And honestly, man, for me, like it was like when I, growing up in Philly, like you from Philly, I love Philly. That's my home, that's my foundation. But like I really didn't have I be honest, I didn't really have like much motivation around me, stuff like that. And I didn't really have that drive. So that, that's why I wasn't really focused. I was just kind of like I wouldn't say I was in the streets or anything, but I was I was in like a little party group in Philly or whatever. So we used to throw like parties and stuff like that. So I did go to like a lot of parties, and I really probably could have got into stuff, but my mom was the one that really just kept me straight, right? But I would say really my senior year, right? My senior year in college. My senior year in high school. My mom like started to introduce me to some people that really I'd say what kind of got me on the right track. Like I remember dealing with like 100 Black Men in Philly. That really helped me like my 12th grade year. And then I did like something called Y Achievers. So even bro, like it's funny, like I could laugh at it now. Like I say that 1.8, I brought that up my senior year. It was like a 1.5, like I brought that joint up. But yeah, so my senior year, I actually did my high school project on kidney disease. I had an aunt that had kidney disease, and so I did a project on kidney disease, like just the ins and outs of that. I did some like research at a dialysis center and stuff like that, and it went pretty nice. Well. So when I went to college, I went to St. Augustine's University in Raleigh, North Carolina, HBCU. At first, I really didn't know what I wanted to study. I remember calling my mom and asking, like, I don't know what I want to study, and she was like, "Oh, maybe you should study biology. Like, you liked it doing your project on kidney disease. Maybe you should try that out." So I tried out biology, and man, like it was just, first of all, like I said, my mom, really seeing how supportive my mom was, to support me through school. And that really gave me that drive and that motivation, honestly. And then experiencing that other culture in North Carolina, it's giving me that drive. And then I really really started to find myself as well, right? And became a lifetime learner. Like I'm really someone that just loves learning about science, talking about science, and really just diving in. And then it just kind of went in from there. And it's crazy because time goes by fast. Like it's 2023 now. I graduated in 2015. It don't even seem like it's been that long since I like started school and studied biology. But it's like just been there's so much that I've been able to dive in with, and people that I've been able to learn from and connect with. So it's been dope.
Definitely appreciate that. I think one of the things I'm constantly learning is at any given time, you can look in the mirror and see who you were, who you are, and who you want to be. And the goal as you move forward is to always trend right. Okay, I know who I was and I didn't like that, but I liked some aspects of it. But here's the goal. So you have to balance wanting to get to the goal, but also never forgetting and being thankful for what you have currently. And I think that we can beat ourselves up, be our own worst critic, be really hard on ourselves, particularly as men, and not only men, but men who are in technical fields. Like, I should be on this, should have this, I could have that. But we have to have give ourselves grace because when we woke up this morning, so okay, this is one more day to get it right. So when I
Come
think
on.
about branding yourself around innovation, connecting yourself to idea generation. Every day I'm thinking, I'm moving, I'm striving to execute based on the notion that I am destined for greatness, right? The innovative mind is not a mind that is at rest or is still. The innovative
Mm,
mind is constantly in a cyclic process of try to do something, figure it out, come back, rework. Try to do something, test it out, rework, right? And the more that you do that, the closer you get to the goal. But the key is you got to have mission. You have to be mission oriented. You got to have a vision. And I think that you're showing that with StemPlug over a year. So definitely keep doing that, bro.
Yeah, bro. I just wanted to add, man. You getting me right there, man, because like, you know, even kind of going back, right, when I said about like honestly, uh oh, I can just be a scientist or I can just be an engineer, right? It took me back in 2019, right? And I'm transparent about everything I've been through in my life. Back in 2019, I actually almost lost my life in a car accident. And I actually feel like I did lose my life and came into another life. I look at life in dimensions, right? So, and it really took that opportunity, that moment in time, right, for me to start to really, start to form more orientation, such as like just gratitude, just for the little things, right? Gratitude, just really those life skills, right? And really I really started to know thyself, right? So I really understand now, it's like when you know thyself, you can do anything, right? And one of the slogans of my brand STEM Plug is when we believe we achieve, right? So I really feel like when you believe something, when you honestly believe you can do something, there's a dimension that already happened, and you just gotta continue to put in that action and do that work to get there. So that's really what my brand is all about, and everything that my mission and what I'm going into.
mm.
He said, when you believe something, there's a dimension where that happened already.
Yeah, bro.
Right, right.
So that's tough. Let's get into some robot. Tariq, let's segue to some more technical stuff and really get
Hold
into
on,
this
man.
robotic stuff.
I don't know what y'all got. I don't know if I still got a cold or what y'all got me doing over here, man. But I appreciate all these gems, but
Yeah,
oh man, the knowledge that was just dropped in the last 5 minutes of this episode, man. And I got so much. Like Jabril about to get a whole clip. Rich, you about to get a clip. Like it's about to be a whole segment just from this one thing.
yeah,
But I'm gonna ask you one thing, and then we're gonna get into our quick commercial break, right?
for sure.
Um, You know, Jabril said something earlier on about replacing jobs or using automation to replace jobs, right? And right now, the biggest thing on social media right now is artificial intelligence, AI. You know, how is it gonna, affect people's livelihoods, right? And I hear a lot of people blaming the technology instead of blaming who's using the technology, right? So we on the STEM files, we're all about having our technology and the things that we produce with STEM in the right hands. So talk to us about how AI is not the problem, but those who are using AI to eliminate people's livelihoods, and how AI can be used, like Jabril said earlier, to help increase the productivity of what you're doing rather than eliminate what you're doing. So
Yeah,
can we please stop blaming AI when AI is all it is a technology, and
yeah,
that it has to be manipulated in a way where it does take someone's livelihood. It doesn't just up and take it.
Good
I'm
pieces,
AI.
good
I'm just gonna
pieces.
go ahead. I'm technology. I'm just gonna go ahead and take your stuff.
yeah, yeah,
It doesn't work like that. It
yeah,
has to be in the hands of someone else. So
yeah.
talk to us about that, man. Can we please tell people to stop blaming AI?
Yeah, man. Stop blaming AI, man. First of all, we're not talking
Thank
about
you.
Allen Iverson either. We're talking about artificial
Right,
intelligence.
right.
But nah, bro, that's a fact, man. It's not we can't blame AI. We gotta blame the people that's within the AI, right? That might be making some decisions. So that's why it's so important that, we have people like us that are able to get into these fields of knowing how to work AI, knowing how to do machine learning, knowing how to code, that can get into these rooms and make decisions like this, right? Because a lot of the things that you see within AI, they're not built upon, people that look like us, right? They're built
Right,
upon, other people, right? So that's why, some of the times, some of the things that you see AI might make is not in our favor. But, overall, like, I can speak upon myself, right? I use AI a lot for different things, but it's like, you got to know what you're using it for, right? So for
right.
example, like, you think about ChatGPT can be a perfect I say a virtual assistant for you if you know how to use it. Say you have a certain idea and you just need it to be categorized. Now you can implement that in ChatGPT or within that AI. But now if you want AI to do all the thinking for you and everything, then nah, that's not what it's going to do. You have to somewhat come with, something to bring to the table, and now you're using that AI to kind of help you cater that to even more. So yeah, man, overall, I would say really we have to be kind of what we were saying before, man, being forward thinkers, right? So you seeing where we at in the world today. You seeing where everything is going. You seeing that, with the artificial intelligence, looking to everyone, a lot of people are entrepreneurs nowadays, right? There's,
Hmm.
black businesses are flourishing. Everybody is going into different businesses, looking at seeing how you could possibly use AI to help you not burn out, right? Burnout syndrome is real. We try to do everything ourselves. We don't want no help from nobody. But why don't you try to maybe take the time to learn, the implements of AI and how you can maybe implement this in with your business, right?
That's
So
right. That's
I
right.
don't know if that answered your question, bro. I know I'll be right.
Oh yeah, most deaf. Yeah.
No, it definitely did. I think if I could encapsulate, try to really drill down. So AI is a wonderful, dynamic servant, but a horrible master.
Come on.
So we have to remember AI does what you tell it to. So the more you tell it, the more it does. What we really need to look at AI for is increasing quality of life. So if I value my time as an individual, right? My company values my time at a certain rate, right? It's high, but I value my time higher. So what's important to me? Okay, spending time with my two children, spending time with my wife, doing community outreach with some of the brothers in my faith base. Being able to travel with my family, being able to, you know, pick up children from school. If these are the things that you value, how can you use and leverage AI to take away from you those burdensome, mundane, repetitive tasks that
Come
aren't
on.
really your job or aren't really adding to you so that you can do more of the things that you like to do that really require nuance and organic interaction and interpersonal relations and communication that AI will never be able to replicate. You can't replicate, at least at this point, the human heart. You know, you're never going to be able to get a quality Jabril Muhammad conversation
That's
unless
right.
I'm talking to you,
Come on, come on.
right? So that's where I think like this game, we talk about the effectiveness, the productivity, and everything. That's where the focus should be to really allow us to be fully human. All right.
That's right.
Yes,
Absolutely, absolutely.
for
You
sure,
don't
bro.
want to you don't want to talk to an AI Jabril, man. You ain't gonna get the you ain't gonna get the full effects of the life brother can put into you, man. I'm telling you, you just ain't gonna
Yeah.
get it. But family, this is uh the 30-minute mark, exactly the 30-minute mark. We are now ready for our commercial break. And that commercial break is about the final call newspaper, and then we're gonna do some black business highlights. So, family, stay tuned for more after this.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call digital edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
Peace. This is Naya Muhammad, a future architect, and you're watching The STEM Files.
Thank you, family. And if you're watching for the first time, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay abreast of all STEM Files content and everything that we do on all of our platforms. And Jabril, what's this week's edition of the Final Call newspaper all about?
Yes, sir. Let's get into it. Family, for those who don't know, I'm familiar, both Brother Tariq and I are members of the Nation of Islam, Mighty Fruit of Islam, the name given to the military training of the men who belong to Islam in North America. This is our flagship news source, the Final Call newspaper, a message dedicated to the resurrection of the black men and women in America and the world. This week's edition, disagreeable to live with in peace. We have the peeling back of the mask of civility among whites is leading to an increased backlash and violence. The fatal shooting of 3 black people by a white man in Jacksonville, Florida is further proof what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad proclaimed, that the Honorable Minister Farrakhan has repeatedly warned: separation is the best and only solution for our survival. Now you say, oh, the STEM files is race baiting, STEM files is this and that. The STEM files is very much very much has an understanding of the law of cause and effect. We know who we've been under for 400 plus years. We know what we've been dealing with for that time frame, and we also know what we haven't tried. You know, we've integrated for X amount of time, and we've gotten some advances or what have you. But to really be able to stand toe to toe and stand level as having our own is something that we haven't tried. So we're taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that our unity is more powerful than an atomic or hydrogen bomb. So how about we try some of that? Right, and be able to
Mm.
come to a table with a level of power that can be respected. So with that, you want to follow at Final Call Newspaper on all platforms. If you want to get your physical edition, you can tap it with myself in Philadelphia. You can tap it with my brother Tariq Cardiac in Richmond, Virginia. And for your digital subscription, go to finalcalldigital.com to get your weekly digital subscriptions. The Final Call newspaper family, that good news you can use, unadulterated and full of power and truth. The Final Call newspaper family.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, bro. And that was that's a very important part of what we do at the STEM Files as well, because we want to make sure that we are, representing, who we say we are, what we believe in, and we are representatives of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. As a matter of fact, I talked when I was on a guest on the STEM Plug, which is our brother's podcast, which we're going to get into in a few minutes. I talked about Minister Farrakhan and how he was influential on my research, with the Navy being right. So I wanted to ask you, Rich. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Minister Farrakhan or the work of the Nation of Islam, but I wanted to get your thoughts. Have you seen anything, that the minister, any of the minister's lectures, anything like that, that really kind of caught your eye? It was like, you know what, this is something that Black people should listen to.
Yeah, man. I've listened to some of the teachings really, and really the one big thing that I've caught is always just like really kind of like what we were talking about before, right? It's just like having that belief in yourself, right? That's the biggest take that I took, right? Is believing in yourself and not putting your belief in somebody else. So I would really say that's the biggest take. I take a lot of, I'm a lifetime learner, man. So I learn from all different types of people, different religions. And really, I really learned a lot just about like the teachings of how that belief in yourself, man. That's what's really stayed with me.
Gotcha. You said something
Yeah.
that stood out just now. You said not, believing in someone else. So when you say someone else, you're talking about those who we have a very clear history of those who have oppressed us for the last couple hundred years. Is that
Yeah,
what you meant?
yeah, man. So yeah, you could say it like that. Yeah, just really having that faith that you can be that leader, right? You can be that leader. You can form something of your own. You can create your own brand. You can create your own business. You don't have to just work for somebody. So that's yeah, for sure, bro.
And if
Gotcha.
I may add and extend it a bit more, I think going beyond our 400+ year old enemy
Right.
to taking personal accountability for your life, right? In the
Right.
nation, right, we're taught the knowledge of self, God, enemy, and the time of what must be done. The old adage goes, when you know better, you do better. Well, a lot of us think we know better, but we really don't have the requisite knowledge that imbues us with the spirit to take personal accountability for where we are, where we've been, and where we will be. So when you are given a thorough knowledge of self, which is all encompassing, now you know that you're the one in your way, or your only competition. So if you're trying to get from point A to point B, okay, how do I now master that lower desire or master this aspect of self that's not where I want to be, right? So okay, I can put something in my life or take something away that doesn't serve me to be able to move forward. And I think that's one of the things, whether it's how to eat to live, right? Whether it's the proper way of handling people, right? Pooling our resources. These are things that we learn that allow us to take personal responsibility for every aspect of life that either positively or negatively impacts us. So I think one of the things I gathered from what bro was saying is I can be who I want to be and I can save myself. I don't necessarily have to rely on someone else to save me once I know the path that I need to take.
Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, nah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
facts, bro. Once you know thyself, man, for real. So yeah.
Absolutely. Praise be to Allah. So this is the kind of conversation I wanted to have. I wanted to have that conversation about how STEM can be used to lift us up out of our conditions, right? And one of the ways we can do this is by talking about these different types of sciences. And you have created a podcast that's a lot similar to ours. It's called the
Mhm,
STEM Plug, right?
mhm.
So, matter of fact, you're wearing a hat with your logo on it now.
Yes,
And
sir.
so tell the
I'm gonna
audience,
need one of
what.
those.
Right, I'm gonna need that. So talk to us about the STEM Plug, man, because when I first saw your page, I was like, this is the STEM files. This is literally what we're doing. We got to connect. We got to work together.
Mhm.
So first tell us about what STEM Plug is, and then tell us why you decided to come on the STEM files, to talk about the STEM Plug. We want to know what made you want to come together with us on that.
Yeah, nah, for sure, bro. So yeah, I mean, really, STEM Plug really kind of came about from, my brand, a lot of things I would say, kind of and I've been saying this a lot lately, right? Amazon started with books out the garage, right?
Right.
So my brand really started with my children's book right here. It's called Diverse in STEM. It's just a children's book to inspire, it's children from all different diverse children, right? In the book, but they're led by a teacher from Ghana, from Africa, right? So there's a teacher from Ghana that's the head that's leading all these different diverse children. So I put that out about a year ago, and when I put that out, I just wanted to kind of put a brand around everything, and that's when I really came about with STEM Plug, right? And then another umbrella of STEM Plug that developed was my podcast, the STEM Plug podcast, right? And the podcast kind of came about because I've already have a network of a lot of people doing some really dope things in science, technology, engineering, and math. And like I said, I'm a lifetime learner that I really just like and listen to people just telling me what they do. I'm able to learn from them, different stuff like that. So I got to the point where I'm like, like I already have all these different people in my network that I'm learning from. Like, why don't I now put this on a platform? So that's honestly what I did. I just took my network of different people that I got and different people I might meet at different conferences, different connects, and really just put it on a platform. So now, really my platform is a platform where I'm literally just here learning from somebody, and now I'm allowing my audience to learn the same thing, right? And then some of my guests have, different services they might offer as well. So yeah, that's really how the STEM Plug kind of came about, right? And then, looking at the STEM files, I was really interested in, getting on your platform and diving in with you all because I'm all about collaboration, right? Like you said, we both, are like-minded. We're on the same mission of you just wanted to spread the awareness of STEM and how important STEM is for life, right? Because STEM is life,
Right.
So it's like, and I feel like we both have platforms where it's like, it's not just for a technical professional that's like a biologist, a scientist, or an engineer. People get on here that's not even in a technical field, and now you're catching their interest. They want to learn more about robotics and stuff like that. So yeah, man, just really that collaboration and diving in with like minds.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm glad you took the time to respond, man, because I'm about collaboration, but I'm also about responding to collaboration. I'm about saying yes, when it makes sense, because there's absolutely no reason why two up and coming black owned podcasts about the same thing cannot come together and build and make something even greater, right? So I appreciate you for coming through. Jabril, you want to add something to that?
I as you were talking, I really got to thinking. I listened to a lot of people who've talked about, there's no need to compete. If you can't do something, you can hire someone. And on a broader level, I think a lot of times there's a balance between not wanting to give of yourself to someone who could potentially steal from you and then wanting to advance the culture, right? So for me, when we reach out to people and we ask, we're legitimately desirous of not just growing our platform, but sincerely learning and sharing and broadening what that person brings to the table to our audience, to the world. So when we open up, we say, the STEM Files is the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. We strive to highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. What we want to do is people to adapt a scientific lifestyle, regardless of whether or not you are a study of a hard science. So you may not have gone to school for science, technology, engineering, mathematics, but can you approach life with the methodology that is based around the engineering process? Can you, create a hypothesis, see a problem, then start to work it, come back in a cyclic motion and keep doing it? Can you have a mathematical approach to life, right? Do you know how to not only count your money, but can you raise your children in a systematic way where you put them into certain situations, extracurricular activities, and literally chart their life to success in the way that they want to be successful? For example, like not every child wants to go to college, nor should they be made to. Child can come to you and say, Dad, I want to be successful. Okay, well, what does success mean to you? So now what I'm doing, trying to define the problem, right? Well, success is, I want to make a lot of money, Dad. Okay, cool. You don't have to go to college for that. What are you interested in? So now I'm examining, I'm analyzing my child as they play. Okay, they play with blocks. Oh, they like to draw. Okay, that's something that you can monetize. So let's teach you in an art class, right? To now be an artist or whatever. So now I have looked at this as a system or as an equation where A plus B equals C, C being now you're a future artist, right? So now it doesn't have to be, oh, go and study engineering. It can be, I am now a scientist that is able to literally pull the maximum amount of potency out of my life, right? So that's really what we want to do here as we're bringing people on and as we are, advancing these types of conversations. We want people to relook at their lives and be more successful by applying a mathematical theology, if you will, to their everyday
Come
life.
on.
Man, you hit it right on the nose, bro. Like even for my children's book that I showed you right here, right, Diverse and STEM. It goes into just like the principles that you talked about, right? Because my book goes into really, it has 10 different diverse children, right? And they all have different personality aspects, but the teacher really helps them to understand their personality aspects, now relate those to certain STEM areas that they might can go into, right? So for instance, like one of my characters, Domingo, right? He's real quiet, right? And he likes to draw. So now the teacher, Miss Joy, has helped him like, oh, maybe you can be an architect or something like that when you grow up, right? So understanding those different personality skills and now seeing where that can go. First of all, if you're a problem solver, you can go into anything in STEM. If you're a
Come on.
critical thinker and you're a problem solver, like people ask me, oh, what does it take to be a robotics engineer or to work in automation? I'm like, all right, you gotta be a problem solver. And you gotta know how to critically think, right? It could be a scientist. It could be a scientist, right? I can be out the lab. It could be a scientist that could contact me like, hey, Rich, there's something going on with the robot in the lab. Can you help me? So now I gotta critically think and understand, like, okay, is this something wrong with the assay or is it a user problem? It could have been that they just didn't even have the instrument on. Right? So you got to be
Right.
able to critically think and think out this and look at all different possible situations that could happen. So really being that problem solver, being a critical thinker, and you can be successful in any area of STEM.
Right. And that removes the burden of assuming.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have
Sure.
to when you scientifically assessing something, you're breaking something down. You don't have to assume. All
Yeah.
you got to do is figure out what could be the possible reason, break and do a process of elimination. You found your answer. Matter of
Mhm.
fact, what I want to do, and we didn't really touch on this. What is robotics? What is automation? What exactly does this area of engineering entail? What matter of fact, I'm gonna ask one even better. What makes a robot? Because you
Yeah.
have things that may
That's
not
a
be
great question.
classified right. Because you got things that you would think is a robot, like your phone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people say this is not a robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what makes a robot? What defines a robot? And what exactly is robotic automation?
For sure, for sure. So, man, when we think of robotics, right? Robotics is a very wide field when you say robotics, right? And robotics is literally anything that you can take that was maybe a manual task and now you turn it into like a automated task, right? So looking at
Hmm.
me particularly, I work in lab automation. So I literally work in a lab full of automated robots. So literally you think of the work that a scientist might do. Now we have robots that are able to do that at more of a scale form. So I do everything from, you know, uh, programming these robots to run the different experiments on the robots to, even having to run different development testing on the robots after I might create a method on a robot. So lab automation, for example, maybe you might have something like like a liquid handler, right? So a liquid handler is simply a robot that has, channels that are able to maybe pipette sample in and out of a lab ware plate or something like that. So you imagine if you have a scientist that might be in a lab that's, maybe plating something in a plate with a pipette, right? And they're having to do all this manual work, right? Now you might have a robot that's able to do that in more of a scale form where it's maybe able to pipette maybe 10 plates compared to the one plate that a scientist can do in the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely benefited from those robots, putting those them 96 well plates and making sure that they that you can put whatever solution you're working with in these places in a faster manner, because doing them things manually used to get on my last nerve.
Yeah.
But yeah, so by definition, right? So a robot is something that you program to do something for you that you would normally do.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
in a
pretty.
nutshell?
I like to keep it simple, right? You literally taking a manual process, and now you're making that process automated, so it's not manual anymore.
Got you. So
So it's
this
taking
this
that
is
human interaction away.
got you. So we got a comment from one of our brothers who's also a scientist in his own right, Brother Damon X Johnson out of California. He said our phone is a droid. So what's the difference between a robot and a droid? Is there a specific difference?
He said our phone is a droid.
Yeah, because when I brought up the thing about the phone not being a
Mhm.
robot, and he said it's
Yeah.
a droid. So what is a droid by definition?
Well, I'm not even gonna lie, bro. That's not my expertise, bro. I'm not one of them people that's going like, I know, I don't know, bro.
Got you.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, I would say our phone, when you look at our phone, right? You know, everything this is like with life moving forward, right? We went from
Right.
now we have a cell phone compared to a phone that you know had to pick up and dial the numbers in, right? Now it's a phone
Right.
that's more advanced, and we're going to continue to have even more advanced forms, right? So you know, as we're moving, you know, with years, innovation is changing. So, but now that's a good one, a droid. I don't even know what that is, bro.
Well, according to dictionary.com, it's a robot, especially one with the appearance resembling that of a human.
Got
So
you. Okay.
yeah. So I guess the droid would be like iRobot, the Will Smith movie and stuff like that.
Got you. Yeah. So that's interesting, right? So it's like,
Mm,
you know, a lot of times when I say I work in robotics, people think it's one of those type of robots, right? One of them human type robots. And that's the interesting thing, because like, you know, the field of robotics is so wide. Like even working in there's data robots as well, right? Like data automation. I consider that robotics, right? So working with data, or having different systems that are able to, you know, manipulate data and stuff like that. I consider that a form of robotics to me. But yeah, like I said, me specifically, I work within lab automation. So there's basically a bunch of different automated lab robots that do a lot of different processes, right? So, you know, specifically in the area that I'm working in now, right, we have within R&D, we have infrastructure of different work cells with you know, different robots that are doing various of different tasks, right? And you have different labs that are on different scales of levels. So you might have a lab that is a R&D lab that's looking to, you know, create like a high throughput operations, like the lab that I'm in. You know, so we have different work cells, right, that are able to do different various of tasks. And you know, I have the job of creating an infrastructure where we have various of robots in one area, but I have to get them to all work together in sequence, right? So you might have a robot that maybe heats up a plate, or maybe it might shake the plate, or then maybe it might, you know, pipette the samples in and out. How do you now get all these things to work in sequence with each other? So now you have to take that, and also having a scheduling system, right? You have that scheduling system where now it's scheduling those various of steps within the automation. So
right. Absolutely.
Now, see what he just said? He just talked about a series of like mundane tasks that like are your job. But now, when you take the data gathered from the task that's been aided by robotics, now you go and explain like only you can the data results, right?
Right.
So it's not that you don't know how to do what was just done, because you still have to know how to make the robot do the thing. But a lot of times, automation is really a time-based use case where the goal is to reduce the amount of time it takes to do this,
right,
so that I can have more time to do something else,
right,
right? So everything he was just talking about is dope, because it, if you say, lessens the time needed to get from point A to point B. So now I can do the human aspect of what it is that my job entails, whether it's, you know, pitching to a customer or whatever. I got all this data that the robot did, so now I'm gonna go and do what the human can do. You know?
Right. Absolutely. And it like what we were saying before, you know, it all goes back to what is the intent of the person that's controlling these devices, man. So first, we at the 54-minute mark. You know, this is we're approaching the end of the program. We just want to give a quick shout out to those who are watching. We got Elijah X Goodman out of Philadelphia, the Alcabir
Yes,
squad
sir.
watching. We got Wavy Living. I'm not sure where he's at. I'm assuming from this comment that he's in North Carolina. All right, we got, of course, Brother Damon, who's watching from California. My mother, Sister Kabila, who's watching from here in Richmond, Virginia. What They Want, I believe that's Brother Demetrius out of Norfolk, Virginia. Thank you for tuning in, bro. And then we got Brother Tracy, 3X from Richmond, Virginia as well. And yeah, so we want to thank y'all for tuning in. And of course, those who did not comment as well, we want to thank you for watching as well. But what we like to do before we conclude the show is we like to do something called a STEM file speed round. And I'm really interested in doing this with you because it really helps us get to know you more outside of, you know, what tonight's topic is about. So you ready for that?
Not for sure. Let's get it, bro.
All right, bet. So we're going to ask you a bunch of lightning. So you got 3 seconds to answer each question, right? If you can't answer the question, you got to move on to the next. Let me see if I got it. Hold on.
I was trying to do the same thing, but if you go find it before me.
I found it. All right, cool. All right, so what's the first thing you do first thing you do or think of when you wake up in the morning?
Meditate.
Okay. Hot or cold?
Hot or cold? Notes. You said hot or cold, you said?
No, hot or cold?
Oh, cold. Cold.
Cold. Gotcha. Walking or jogging?
Walking.
Okay. Professional work or volunteer work?
Volunteer work.
Favorite pair of shoes of all time?
Shit. I say Jordan 1s. Yeah.
Okay.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go. Right. All right. I guess I know the answer to this one. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
All right. Favorite thing to cook?
Lasagna.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Favorite song?
Chicken lasagna though, because I don't eat no beef or pork, none of that. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Favorite song of all time?
It's right on my head. I Believe I Can Fly.
Yes, there you go. Yes, sir. Come on now. Come on.
Feathers with that one. Okay.
Oh no.
All right.
I was about to say Nas. I know I. No, it's really Nas. I Know I Can. My bad. Nas. I Know I Can.
No, don't say it. You good? You don't gotta take it back.
No, it's both of those though. It's both of those.
So you like
songs for me. Yeah.
Inspirational? Yeah. I got you. Okay. Cool. All right. Youth engagement or raising money for a nonprofit?
Youth engagement. Yeah.
Okay. Got you. The worst job you've ever had?
Dang, worst job I ever had. I've never had a bad job because I learned from every experience that I had. So I'm not somebody that talks down upon any opportunity I had. So I guess I had to say pass.
Okay. All right.
That's a great answer.
That's a great answer, but I'm gonna dig a little deeper because I don't like that answer. so okay. So like, what's the hold on. There's a certain way I'm asking. So, what was the least favorite job that you had, or that you didn't that you could, like, if you had to do it again, you wouldn't?
Probably when I was in college, I was at UPS at the warehouse. Okay. It was too hot. They didn't give us no breaks. It was. Yeah.
They paying y'all 6 figures now though.
Hell yeah! I'm like, what?
I'm good. You can have I'm good. Right. They can sponsor me though.
Hey, talk to them.
Give me a paid promotion post.
Yeah.
All right, bet. All right, so if you were stuck on the island for a year, right, and you could only listen to 3 albums, what would they be?
Wow.
And you got a little bit more time to answer this one.
Dang, that's crazy. All right. How much time I got?
You
All
got time for that one.
right. So one album. I'm an old school dude for real, man. Like I like old school stuff. Like one of my favorite artists is, you about to laugh at me, is Sade. That's one of my favorite artists.
Okay.
Ain't nobody laughing at
Ain't
that.
nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
So what's the album? I'm on Apple Music trying to find out what's that album. Cause I just be listening to her essentials on Apple Music. So
Sometimes you
yeah,
just need.
that's a vibe. So
It's
I
something about that old school R&B, man. It just takes you to another
yeah.
place mentally, man.
Yeah, that old school R&B.
I feel you
Also,
on that.
Lupe Fiasco.
Okay,
That's
Lupe.
Okay.
one right there. Lupe.
Yeah.
Is
Severely underrated.
what's album is that? Is that the no? Yeah, Food and Liquor. Lupe Fiasco, Food and Liquor, and
Okay.
what else?
You can
Man,
just say an artist if you can't think of the album for the last one.
Yeah.
say an artist. All
Yeah.
right. So we saying right now in my life, right now,
In
right?
general, yeah. Yeah.
Cause my music selection has changed, right? Like I like
Yeah.
cause I can do like a lo-fi album as well, like just like a smooth jazz type lo-fi album. Like I listen to a lot of jazz to just get my mind settled, and so I can, like, connect with myself, stuff like that. So yeah, I'll say like
Okay.
maybe like a lo-fi type jazz
I like
album or
that.
something. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. All right. So if you could meet any scientist from the past, who would it be and why?
Any scientist from the past? This is rapid fire. Let me see. I would say maybe Ronald McNair.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I would say Ronald McNair. Just really yeah. I think it's dope what he did. Being an astronaut, space and stuff like that. That's not my niche, but it's pretty dope to me. And I kind of supported different Ronald McNair programs as well. So I like kind of learned a lot about him. So I would like to maybe meet him, and that'd have been dope.
It
Yeah.
says
That's.
Ronald Earl McNair, October 21st, 1950 to January 28th, 1986, American NASA astronaut and physicist, died at the age of 35 during the launch of Space Shuttle Challenger on mission STS-51L. She was
Yeah.
serving as one of 3 mission specialists in a crew of 7. I
Yeah.
studied, I think, this Space Shuttle Challenger as a case study for my engineering ethics class in college.
Mm-hmm.
That was a crazy situation, but wow. That's a
Yeah.
good pick, man. I definitely gonna do some research.
Yeah, nah, for sure, man. So
Gotcha. Yeah, and if you want to learn about robotics, definitely get involved in the space program.
yeah.
That I will say that's a perfect place to learn about robotics. That's for sure.
Yeah, nah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all dropping some gym questions, man.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
All right, so here's the last one. So if I wasn't Richnovated, or no, matter of fact, let me do it different. If I wasn't a robotics engineer, what would I be? So what would you be?
You saying within STEM or like just in general?
Anything. Like if you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't doing what I'm doing, what would I be doing? Man, you know something interesting. Like when I first graduated college at St. Aug, when I was about to graduate, I applied to a lot of different food science programs. So I was interested in food science. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The food science industry is not the pay in that not that great. But yeah, maybe a food scientist, man. Maybe something like that. Or if it was outside of STEM, I don't know. I always wanted to be like, I could see myself as like a sports analyst.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see myself as like a sports analyst. I could
Gotcha.
always, yeah, something like that.
Up there tripping all the time like Shannon, right?
Nah, man. I'll be just spreading the knowledge, being a making sure I'm spreading the knowledge as well as being a good listener to my host and everybody else I'm working with, right? I think a lot of people, having the skill to really just be able to listen to somebody is really a work of art, right? A lot of people don't know how to do that, and
Right.
you all as I'm not gonna say podcasters because y'all way more than podcasters, but just y'all show, to have a show like you have to be like a great listener, and that's really a form of art because a lot of people don't know how to listen to people.
You remember me saying I hate that word podcast on your show, right?
Yeah, so I made sure I didn't
You
say
watching your words.
that. I was like, yeah, shut up, I got you, bro. But, yeah.
Awesome. Well, man, we appreciate it, man. This is pretty much the end of this episode, man. But Jabril, do you have any final remarks before we conclude?
Only thing I want to say, man, is thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, bro. We appreciate it. We definitely, think the culture was advanced tonight. Like you said, we're the voice of STEM in Black culture, and we definitely raised our voice this evening. It's exciting to be back in the saddle. We're gonna keep pushing forward. We look forward to connecting for future opportunities, collaboration, things we can potentially do. We got some things down the pipe that we want to kind of work on. Me and Tariq are gonna be doing some brainstorming over these next several months, going into the new year. So it was exciting. I really appreciate it. Knowing that you from Philly is like so dope. I'm looking forward to connecting, bro. And just keep doing what you're doing. And I look forward to trying to schedule time to come on your platform as well to kind of help share in my bit of my journey with your audience as well. So
Nah, for sure. And if it's one more thing I just like to add, if you don't mind. So
Go for it, man.
yeah, bro. Actually, this Friday coming up, my new book right here, man. Engineer Your Way releases, and it's just a
okay.
book. It's just like I said, I'm an engineer, right? But this book is nothing about engineering. It's more so talking about embracing everything you've been through in life. Like I said, I had that 1.8 GPA in high school, but that's not where I'm at today.
That's right.
Having emotional intelligence, empathy for others, learning from other cultures, because all of my outlying skills and my soft skills have allowed me to really build my infrastructure that I have today. So I'm actually going on a multi-city book tour coming soon. So I'm going to be in Philly. I'm going to be in Richmond. So stay tuned.
Yes, sir.
Love to stay in tap with everybody. You can follow me on Instagram at Richnovated, and check me out on stemplug.net as well, my website. So love to stay in touch with everyone. So I appreciate the opportunity, bro.
Absolutely. And for
Yes,
those
sir.
who are watching, everything that bro just said is in that link in the description. If you're watching on Facebook, it's in the caption. But family, thank you again for tuning in. Oh, and by the way, our next guest, and Jabril don't even know this yet. Our next guest is this coming Tuesday. She's a graduate of the Latin American School of Medicine in Cuba, and she's going to be talking to us about Cuba's legacy of training Black doctors. So her name is Dr. Isan Muhammad. She is I can't remember how many years out she is now, but she graduated from the Latin American School of Medicine, where you can get trained to be a medical doctor for free, absolutely no debt whatsoever, and you get to learn medicine in another language while you learn it in English. So she's going to be talking to us about that this coming Tuesday, September 12th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Special air date again, just like today. Special air date. She's also raising money so she can take her board exams with the United States Medical Licensing exam, and that is a standardized um, licensing exam that allows a doctor who just finished their medical program to actually practice medicine in the United States. So definitely tune in for that, family. That's our next episode this coming Tuesday, September 12th. All right. So also September 17th, we got Dr. Wesley coming on the program. He's going to be talking to us about atomic bombs and the research that he has put together on what the United States government has did to two different cities in Japan, and so much more, family. So we got a all-star lineup. We got Sister Tahira from Philadelphia, talking to us about the Crescent Foundation. She's been on the show three times before, and she's going to be talking to us about everything that she's doing with the Crescent Foundation and so much more. And that's our regular date of Thursday, September 17th. So, family, once again, thank you for joining us. September 14th. Excuse me, September 14th. So, thank you all for tuning into the STEM Files. We serve as the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. Until next time, family. Peace.
You believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teach men, we teach them